In the previous video, we made the HelloLife folder by lifelib's create function. HelloLife is a copy of the basiclife library, and it includes a number of folders whose name starts with basic term. These are models included in the basiclife library, and all of them model basic term life products. In this video, we are going to read basic term S, the simplest model in basiclife, into the IPython session and explore it. Click anywhere in the left pane of MX Explorer. Select Read Model from the context menu. Click the folder icon in the pop-up dialog. Then another dialog shows up, which looks like Windows Explorer. Navigate to the HelloLife folder and select basic term S in that folder. The model name box is used when you want to rename the model from its original name that the model is saved with. Leave it blank now. The import as box is for specifying the global variable name in IPython that the model is going to be assigned to. Leave the box in front of import as checked and leave the box blank. This way, the model is going to be assigned to the same name as its own name, basic term S. Click OK. Now a basic term S model is created as a model X model object in the IPython session. The contents of the model are shown in a tree structure in the left pane of MX Explorer. The model has one child item in it, which is a space object named projection. If you click the arrow icon in front of projection, all the child objects in the projection space show up. The projection space has many child objects. There are two types of child object: cells and references. A cells object has an associated formula defined by a Python function and acts like a function in one way, because when the cells is called, its formula is evaluated and the result is returned. But unlike Python functions, the cells keeps the result until the formula needs to be evaluated. Let's take a look at this cell's age, for example. You can select the age cells in MX Explorer by double-clicking on it. Then its associated formula is shown in the bottom right pane. The age cells calculate the attained age of a model point at time t by adding issue age of the model point and duration at time t. References are another type of objects. They are names bound to objects, and they can be referenced from the formulas of cells defined within the same parent space. In Variable Explorer, you can see basic term S is defined, which is a global variable in the IPython session, and it's bound to the model object that we have just created from the folder. This variable is created because we checked the box in front of the import as box in the dialog box when we were asked to locate the path to the model folder. Let's check that the name is actually defined in the IPython session. Use the auto completion feature as we did before as you type basic term, then press return. The IPython prints out the representation expression of the model, which indicates that the name is actually bound to the model object. Note that the name of the global variable doesn't have to be the same as model's name. And you can also assign the model object or any other object to multiple names. So if you don't want to bother using the long name, you can assign the model to a shorter name for convenience. Let's say, for example, you want to assign the model to a name model. Type model equal basic term S. Then you can use the name model instead of basic term S in the IPython. The contents of the model are accessible through dot operator on the model. The model has only one child item, the projection space, so to get the projection space, type model.projection using autocompletion. To avoid typing the full dotted name every time you access the object, you can manually define a shorter name for the object using the assignment operator as we did for the model object. But there's another way to define names for objects. In MX Explorer, right-click on the item you want to define a global variable for and select Import Names. Then the global variable is defined in the IPython as the same name as the object's name. To confirm the imported name in Variable Explorer, you need to change Variable Explorer's settings because, by default, Variable Explorer doesn't show the names of variables bound to callable objects, and sales objects are callable. Click the icon at the upper right corner of Variable Explorer and uncheck the Exclude Callable and Modules item. Now you see that the name you imported is shown in the Variable Explorer. If you want to define global variables for all of the child items in a space, there's a way to do that. For example, if you want to define global variables for the projection space and all of its child objects, right-click on Projection and leave all the checkboxes in the dialog box checked and click OK. As you see in Variable Explorer, names are defined for the projection space and also for all of its child items. So now you can just type object's name in IPython to access the objects.